Geek News Central, show number 612 for September 21st, 2010. Is sponsored by GoDaddy.com, Citrix, GoToMeeting, Infusionsoft. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Everyone, I got a great show for you. Kind of stumbled there. I was waiting for the recording to start on Ustream, and it didn't know what it wanted to do. So I said, let's go ahead and go without it. So maybe the beginning of the Ustream recording got cut off. But hey, we're going to be talking about start pointing your iPhones at planes. We're going to be talking about owning your own Stargate. Talk about playing pirated TV on your iPad. And we're going to talk about the new Mikey for your flip recorder or flip camera. And I got a great show lined up for you. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
No.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right. I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There's no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Showtime.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran, and I want to encourage you to get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great content over there. Of course, I want to give a warm welcome to all of our longtime listeners and viewers, those of you that are part of our ohana. And if you're watching or listening to the show for the very first time, don't worry. That ohana is not some special designation. Just for the simple fact that you're listening to the show or watching, makes you part of the family here of listeners. And of course, I want to give you a warm aloha here from the state of Hawaii, because it is just an absolute typical beautiful evening in Hawaii. We got nice trade winds tonight. The weather's perfect. I guess that's the price of living in Hawaii is the ongoing great weather. But of course, we got listeners that are tuning into the show and downloading the show from 170 countries worldwide. I actually think we're up to 172 or 173. That number's actually going up. So I want to welcome those folks that are subscribed to the show. And, of course, you can get subscribed, too, by going to geeknewscentral.com. And right on the main website, if you take a look at your screen right now, for those of you that are watching on the video, you'll notice that there's a subscribe area. It's outlined in orange. And you'll see a RSS feed for the blog, for the podcast, for the video portion. Of course, you can subscribe via iTunes, Zune Marketplace. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter. And, of course, I've got some other feeds there for our special events. And, of course, my morning tech show I'll talk about here in just a second. But get subscribed to the show. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And that way you get it downloaded automatically. So you can listen to the show DVR style. You basically listen to it when you're on your way to work, at the gym. That's the beauty about new media and podcasting. You consume it on your schedule. And for those of you watching live, hey, thanks for hanging out with me late tonight. I know it's late for many of you. So thanks for doing that. Hey, of course, you can watch us on the Tech Podcast channel on either the Roku or the Boxy. And matter of fact, we're hot and heavy in work on our Samsung channel. We're finished with our Vudu channel, so now we're just waiting for that to get approved. So I'll be coming to you via the Vudu and via Samsung here very soon. And, of course, we're streaming live also on justin.tv/Geek News and on the Geek News Central feed on Ustream. Hey, let's take care of a little business here. Of course, GoDaddy's a longtime sponsor of the show, and we want to thank GoDaddy for being a sponsor here. But one thing I was looking around on their website tonight, and one thing that I noticed is they have really ramped up their web hosting plans. And what I'm on the page that's just basically their shared web hosting plans. I'm looking at their ultimate plan. You really cannot beat this. Check this out. Unlimited space and bandwidth, 1,000 email accounts. You'll never use that many. Unlimited MySQL databases, which is important. Of course, you get a free SSL certificate with the purchase of a ultimate plan. And if you sign up for a 12-month program with them, it's $7.99 a month. Now, here's the best part. Here's $7.99 plus my 20% promo code. That'll get you another 20% off by using the promo code TOD20 when you're over at GoDaddy in that checkout counter. Of course, I've got a lot of codes that you can use at GoDaddy by going to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. That'll get you links to basically my Todd promo code, save you 10%. Geek5 will save you 15% on orders $20 or more. And I've got a whole bunch there. I've got codes for renewals. I got codes for new.coms, $7.99, $7.49. Lots of discounts. Whatever you're going to be purchasing over there, you'll definitely find some savings by using my promo codes at GoDaddy. And we want you to share those. Share those with your friends, family members, people that you know. And that will really help me keep the lights on here at Geek News Central. That's important because at 27 cents a kilowatt, electricity gets to be expensive here in Hawaii. Matter of fact, I've been griping about that a lot. I run no AC. Of course, the studio gets shut down on non-production days, so we're not burning a lot of power with all the computers running. And my power bill's still like $325. I've got $325 a month. I've got solar for my hot water heater. It's ridiculous. And we, again, don't run no AC. I haven't, I got an AC unit up here in this room, but never, I turn it on like once a month to make sure that it works. But we just don't have to. We have nice natural trade winds. So, but still, $325. It's just simply insane. And but it's the price of living here in Hawaii. Hey, of course, I hope you're all going to check out the new Hawaii 5.0. I believe it's debuting tonight. Boy, I don't know if it's ABC or CBS, but look, if you haven't saw it already, which many probably have already watched it because it's well late into the evening. But get it, subscribe to it in a DVR, and there's lots of great scenes in there of our beautiful state, and make you want to come out and visit Honolulu. So make sure you watch the new Hawaii 5.0. It's full of action. It's pretty cool. I think you're gonna like it. Hey, just to back up a little bit, on Saturday we had the morning tech show, and of course I had two guests on. One was the host from twosmartguys.com and MrNetcast.com. So we went on for about an hour and a half, and that show has been posted and is up online. Of course, you subscribe to the morning tech show if you want. So if you want to send emails, basically, if those of you are watching the morning tech show, all you got to send it. If you want to send email comments, it's tmtshow@gmail.com is the email address for the new show over there. So anyway, the morning tech show, and we come on live at 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, 6 a.m. Honolulu time. And boy, I'm starting to question myself whether or not I picked the right time, because I have to get up at 5 on a Saturday. So that tells you how much I love you guys to do this new show. So we'll have another episode this coming Saturday. Hope you'll join me. Of course, we'll be here at Geek News Central recording every Monday and Thursday night for Tuesday and Friday show release for the majority of you that are subscribed to the show. Saturday after the morning tech show, I had basically needed to do some work outside, and my koi pond was in need of cleaning, and went out there and basically got the filter cleaned and did everything I was supposed to do. So in and around the filter, we basically built, or not built, but planted a number of plants to kind of hide the filter and make it, aesthetically appealing to, for the backyard. So when we have friends and family over and parties, that you're not just seeing all that gaudy stuff that runs the filtration system. So as I was bending down to put the last filter back in, I don't know what I did, but I got stabbed right in the eye with some plant that was back there. It was a pretty sharp point to the plant, and I initially kind of came up. I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt. And boy, oh boy, within about 15 minutes, I was really worried. It came in the house. I was trying, of course, my eyes watering. So I'm still affected, and it's a lot better than what it was. But really, I was done. For the rest of Saturday, man, I taking some Tylenol and put a patch over my eye. I looked like a pirate, and it was not good. It really, really wasn't. My wife, you need to go to the hospital. You need to go up. And I knew what I did. I just scratched, the eyeball, and nothing was bleeding. It wasn't that bad after all. It was just a plant that jabbed me, and so today it still hurts quite a little bit, but it's better. So at least my eye's not completely, if I had to do this show yesterday, and there was my dog, you hear him? What you doing? He's must be scratching himself over there. Anyway, So I was running yesterday, so at least it's not doing that. But yeah, so down for the count on Saturday and most of the day on Sunday. Hey, you guys remember I bought a Windows Home Server probably, boy, when they first came out. And that poor little unit has just gotten worked to death, and it finally basically give its last hurrah and died on me. Of course, it's outside the warranty window, so I had picked up a new HP data center. And boy, oh boy, have they come a long way with those units as far as processor power goes. So that's one thing I was doing is, this thing was barely running, the old one, so I was transferring media off it. It was taking forever. But anyway, I got all the media migrated so that the backup system was, basically secure, and pulled the old system offline, and just going to try to figure out what's going on with that. But really could not afford not to have the backup capability that provides. That saved me more than once having a hard drive and a laptop just die. And basically, I keep hard drives here, put in a new hard drive into the laptop, load the recovery software. 2 hours later, the laptop's back up in the position it was at 3 o'clock in the morning when it was backed up the night before. So really, it's, I love the Windows Home Server. Now, they've got it so it backs up my Macs, too, with the Time Machine, and I've had a little bit of trouble so far getting that to work. So, and maybe because of the way my network topology is here, that it's having a hard time seeing it. But I'll get that figured out and let you guys know. But new HP data centers here installed in the studio, and once again the machines are backed up. Hey, we're still going to give away an Apple TV next week. I believe it's a week from today, and to be eligible for the Apple TV giveaway, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is if you become an insider, to either sign up for our $2, $5, $10, or $20 a month support plan, or do a one-time contribution to the show. And really, we don't, I'm not being greedy, whatever you can afford. And you'll go instantly into that. If you're already an insider, you'll be in our Apple TV giveaway. This is the first time I've segregated a giveaway to the insider stuff. We're going to see how that turns out. So far, so good. We want to welcome the new insiders, and it's a chance for those of you guys to get an Apple TV. We're going to do a Roku giveaway again. Basically, the winner of the last Roku never replied to emails. Email bounced. Did everything I could to reach out to the individual, and to date, William has not replied to us yet. So I'm going to probably re-give away his Roku. We'll probably start that. We'll do a new giveaway on the next show. All right, what else is going on here? Hey, my mom is coming out to Hawaii. She's going to be flying in on October 3rd. And as you guys know, we haven't done a Sherry cast in like forever. And I know some of you had tuned into the show, and a few of you had asked me what's going on there. We've just been busy, and I've had too many irons in the fire. So I'm sure I'll have her on the show when she's out. She's gonna be out for 10 days, and I fly out the night of the 12th for Vegas for Blog World and New Media Expo, and then she flies back to Michigan on the 13th. But she's gonna come. My kids got some downtime because they basically have a year-round schedule here in Hawaii, so she's going to come out and spend some time with the kids when they're off school, so I look forward to her coming out here. Hey, one thing that I'm looking for, and that's awful nice. Got a nice shirt. You guys probably didn't even see it. I'm looking for audio loops. I guess I'm just going to have to go online and find some because, I want to spice up the show a little bit by adding a few sound effects here or there. I actually got the suggestion from the guys that were on the Morning Tech Show. So I'm looking for some audio loops. If you know of good audio loop CDs that are available, let me know. And just looking for sound effects and fun type of stuff to use on the show. Hey, Sam, one of our longtime listeners, he, I've had some thoughts on whether or not I was going to do the podcast awards this year. And really, it's been this, because it's a huge, monumental effort. It really is. Even with those of you that have volunteered year after year to review the nominees, it is a big job. And it's a big job not only from the volunteer standpoint, but it's a big job from my part. It costs money with the team that manages the website and in the accounting firm. And last year, I lost a significant amount of money doing the podcast awards because we just didn't get enough sponsorships. That was the first time that had happened. And really, podcast awards is about about giving back and not costing me a bunch of What is my dog doing? Max? Max. He has definitely got an itch. Well, anyway, Sam, one of our longtime listeners of the show, he said, "Hey, Todd, I'm sending you an audio file. This is a reminder about the podcast awards before. So I'm just going to play this audio file for you, and I may have to let the dog out. He's driving me crazy here. So let me go ahead and play this this audio file, and you guys will get a kick out of this."
Now hear this. Want to know who decides what the best podcast is? You do. The 2006 Podcast Awards nominations are underway.
Here's all the details.
Go to podcastawards.com right now and nominate your favorite podcasts. Categories include technology, entertainment, sports, comedy, and more. Nominate and vote for your favorite podcasts. Plus, find new ones to subscribe to today at podcastawards.com. Brought to you by Podcast Connecting, the world's leading innovator in podcast marketing.
Have we come a long way since that? Oh my God, that's like an old school radio thing. But so I'm just trying to decide whether or not to move forth with it. So here's what I'm going to do. I can't do it without you guys. If I get at least 30 listeners to volunteer, and I've had a bunch of podcasters volunteer, but it just doesn't work good with podcasters because they have a dog in the fight, right? So if you're a podcaster and you're willing to say, I'm not going to participate, then I need 30. I need at least 30 people to say, yep, I will dedicate. And again, you're going to be contributing at least 8 hours of your time over a 2-week period to review the nominated shows. I need 30 people. So if you want to contribute or if you want to participate, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Put in their podcast awards. If you say, I'm going to go ahead and jump on board, then I will put your name in the list, and if we make 30, then we'll go for it. But I'll have to know quickly. So I got to, because in order to make this happen and really announce the dates and everything, I got to do it within the next really 10 days. So if you want to participate and help out, we definitely appreciate it. And geeknews@gmail.com, and put in the email podcast awards that you will be willing to volunteer to be a reviewer of nominated shows. Okay, I know you guys want to get into tech content, so do I. And we're already, oh my God, I'm really already crazy long and just chit-chat stuff here. So let me take just a moment here and talk about GoToMeeting, our longtime sponsor here at the show. And, anytime I can avoid getting my car to drive to a meeting, I do. And luckily, I've been home a lot recently, so I haven't had to fly around a lot, but I've been online with GoToMeeting all the time. And, that's why I started using the easy and affordable GoToMeetings to hold meetings anytime, anywhere. And, GoToMeeting has become absolutely indispensable for me. And, of course, GoToMeeting is brought to you by Citrix. It's the easiest, most secure way to hold an online meeting. And you guys, you can have your first meeting up and running in seconds. And really, just for $49 a month, you can hold as many meetings as you want. Just basically, it's click of a button and you're in action. It includes phone, voice over IP, conferencing free. So as a listener of this show, you can get a free 30-day trial by going to gotomeeting.com/tech podcast. That's gotomeeting.com/tech podcast. And you guys, what can I say? It's sometimes I leave the application up running all day, and I share the information with 4 or 5 people, my team members. They come in and join me in a meeting. Sometimes they scare me because I say, "Hey, are you watching what's on the screen?" And I'll bring the thing out of minimize and say, "Okay, I'm up looking at it now." And but kind of weird to have them just come in on the speaker and yell at me, but that's kind of the way it works. So definitely check it out. Again, go to meeting.com/tech podcast for a free 30-day trial. Okay, let me go ahead and bounce into the full tech lineup tonight. And I got a stack here. Let me see here. Let me bring this up. And close these 2 little windows here. Okay, we're good. First article is actually kind of more of an entertainment type of article. Mark Cuban is going to be joining ABC's Shark Tank. How many of you guys have seen this show? And he's going to be one of the sharks that will be participating in that, and where individuals come in and pitch their idea. It should be a good entertainment value because Mark's kind of a say it as it is type of guy, And but anyway, he is going to be participating in that. That's I believe on ABC. So I don't know when that starts. Maybe it starts this week with the new rollouts on the show. But he'll be on that. And if you guys have ever watched that show, it might be give it a little extra oomph to it this year. He talked about in the beginning of the show that you could now point your iPhone at a plane. Well, you know why? There's an app out there. It's called Plane Finder AR. You can point your phone at a plane, and it will tell you what airplane it is, what flight path it's on, and give you all kinds of information about the flight. And so I saw this tonight. I loaded this up, and of course, I'm really kind of out of the view of the direct flight path here in Honolulu. But someone's going to have to try this. If you guys download this app, Plane Finder AR, it's an iPhone augmented reality app, and it costs $2.99. But this should be pretty awesome. I'm not sure the rest. I'm sure Homeland Security is not going to be super happy about it, but I'm sure someone's going to freak out over this. But get it while it's available. But yep, it tells you what the flight is, flight number, flight path. How they do this, I don't know, but it is got to be. It's pretty cool. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, you think about that because you're pointing your phone and you take a picture, and it knows which airplane that is. Kind of spooky, yeah? They can do that with airplanes, but they do that with us? Here's one that, this is over on Boing Boing. Feds claim you need a permit to dig in the sand. Apparently, there was a reporter over on a beach. I don't know where, I guess he was over in Florida. And they were trying to dig into the beach to see if they could find any oil that had permeated into the beach. And this is what happened. They were confronted by an official. He says, "Are you digging for oil product?" Now, that's kind of weird. When the reporter did not immediately confirm his intentions, the man threatened to call law enforcement and advised the journalist to move down the beach. Apparently, moments later, an officer of the National Park Service was demanding the reporter's identity, insisting over and over, "You can't dig." So the reporter said, "So no sand castles?" And basically, the guy said, "No, you can't dig here." So this is on a YouTube video, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So you can't go to the beach anymore with your kids anymore and dig sand, all right? Especially in Florida. Wow, building sand castles on Florida's beaches has become illegal. So I don't know if he was approached by a BP representative or what, but and those of you that live in Florida, please go down the beach today and dig a hole, and I'll see if you're approached. Isn't that insane? Totally insane. And if it was a national park officer, obviously it was in a place that was a federally protected national park. Makes you go, doesn't it? Another article is about how the news is acquiesced down in Mexico. And I know this is not super tech related, but I was shocked by what this news organization put up in their website. It said, "Gentlemen of various narco organizations fighting the square of something in Juarez. The deaths of 2 reporters from this publication in less than 2 years represents an irreparable breakdown for all of us that work here. We want you to be aware we are communicators, not psychics." So basically what they're asking the cartels, what do you want us to do? What do you want us not to publish? And they admit to the cartels, you are at present the de facto authorities in our cities. Talks about how there is no law and order anymore in this particular city. I guess it's Ciudad Juarez. Isn't that just amazing that the news people would actually post something like this online on their website? Scary stuff. All right, let's move into tech. Hey, Google Docs editing on iPad coming soon. And of course, Google, if you don't know, Google Earth has been updated for iOS. So apparently, we're going to be able to edit docs in Google Docs shortly. That's good news. And I didn't even realize you couldn't do that already because I don't think I've loaded a Google Doc on my iPhone or on my iPad. But apparently in Android, this is coming to the Android and the iPad in the next few weeks. So we'll see how this goes. So for those of you that are Android users and have iPads and you have Docs and Google Docs, you'll be able to edit them shortly, apparently. Over on Brand Autopsy, yes, like what they do to people when after they've died, doing an autopsy. Brand Autopsy and marketing practices. There is I just had to laugh when I saw this. The source of this image came from the Wall Street Journal. And let me actually put this up here so you guys can see this. And those of you that are bloggers and podcasters, I think you guys would get a kick out of this. The quote on the article says, "Statistics are like a bikini. What they reveal is interesting, but what they hide is vital." And this is from a gentleman named Aaron Levinston. He's a business professor at Baruch College. And again, this came from the Wall Street Journal, Central Guide to Management. But it's true. You know, statistics are interesting, but what's internal into them, and when you dig down into them, is vital in knowing where a show is going. And statistics have largely driven some of the things that I've done with the show recently, and changing the format a little bit. A few tweaks I've tried here and there has helped because I've really dug down into the stats system to kind of see, okay, how is the media being consumed, hour of day, basically trying to dig in deeper to know a little bit more on how you guys are consuming. And it's been pretty eye-opening. And it's probably large to do with our large video growth. The audio growth of the show continues as well, but we've had an amazing amount of folks that have jumped on watching the video portion of the show. It's more than I ever imagined we would, the percentage-wise, we'd ever get to. But large of it's been driven, of course, because of the Roku and other devices. Covered this this weekend, and but there's a good article over on codinghorror.com talking about YouTube versus fair use. And I've never had a video at YouTube. No one, they've never sent me a notice demanding it to be taken down because of copyright issues. But some folks have, and one gentleman went into and basically really pushed YouTube's buttons in trying to see how sensitive the copyright detection system was. And when you guys read this article, I think you'll be surprised how aggressive YouTube has gotten about copyrighted material as far as audio from copyright sources, and even in video clips that are small as like 10 or 11 seconds from another source, from a movie or something that is in their database, which is almost everything. How fast they react to it. But I have this link up in the show notes. So it's basically, this is a good one for those of you that are doing YouTube stuff. And also, if you've considered putting something up on YouTube that would contain background music of copyrighted material, I think you'll get a lot out of this. I really will. So again, it was over on codinghorror.com. Hey, Paul Colligan, I worked with him and a number of other folks. We basically teamed up to decide the new media track for the Blog World and New Media Expo. And we had a couple of last sessions that needed to be filled, and Paul was working with some folks to come up with a panel. And I think if you're going to Blog World, and I hope that this session is not opposite of mine, because it'd be hard to. It's going to be a heavy competition with this one, but it's a YouTube panel where they're going to bring in Rocket Boom, AskANinja.com, going to bring in Blast Media, and they're going to guide you through essentially a YouTube panel on how these folks have really made some explosive numbers by creating their media and putting it up on YouTube. So how you can be profitable by doing that as well. So I have a link up to Paul's write-up on this this session. If you're coming out to Vegas, I mean, it's going to be a great time. So if you're a blogger, a new media creator, thinking about being a blogger, and you've got some time in October to come out to Vegas, it's going to be really educational. I think there's 100 or so tracks. I think we have a total of 13 or 14. My track's on Saturday at 12:30, I believe, is the time I go for my track, and I'm going to obviously recommend that you come out and participate. But this YouTube one's going to be a good one as well. Just another good reason to come out. Talked about early in the beginning of the show about owning your own Stargate. That would be, you got to think about stuff that you'd put in your yard for decorations. And you drive in some parts of the country, and in front of yards are decorated with 3 or 4 old pickup trucks and some old cars. But I would die. My wife would never allow this, but I would love to buy one of these Stargates and have this thing put in my front yard, so that as people drove down the hill coming by my house, that they would see this thing. It's only about $100,000. They think it's going to sell between $80,000 and $100,000. So why buy a house when you can have your own Stargate? But if money was no limit, I would have to seriously consider picking one of these up. And there's all kinds of other crazy stuff that's being auctioned off right now, and I have this link for you. And this was over at io9.com. And if you're a movie buff or you've been watching different types of television series, they've got a huge catalog of items for sale. Most of it probably well out of the range of the majority of us price range, but anyway, kind of cool to see some of this stuff up for sale. How many of you have been using Ring to Skype? Ring to Skype offers a service that enables free incoming phone calls through Skype. And since Friday of last week, the Ring to Skype service, which again provides local numbers for about 100 different destinations, and this actually is a product that competes with the Skype In product that Skype sells for, I think, around $60 a month. I mean, $60 a year. But this Ring to Skype has been blocked by Skype, so it makes me wonder if they have they're doing battle with them. So they've figured out some workarounds, and at this point, Skype isn't saying too much. But Skype is making a lot of money off. The average user uses about $96 worth of added value services to Skype. So the average Skype user, again, is spending $96 a year. I don't spend $96 a year with Skype. Of course, considering that I have an unlimited cell phone plan, that may be part of the reason. And my wife has never had, she calls Skype to Japan sometimes, but her family's mostly up on cell phones as well. So I just have an international plan for her cell phone, and she does that. But I know a lot of people use Skype religiously. And if you've been signed up for Ring to Skype, this is a bit of a problem. They figured a workaround, but anyway, that hopefully that'll resolve itself here soon. Hey, what do you guys think? Of course, this was all over the news. What did you guys think about 4Channel and their denial of service attacks against the MPAA and RIAA over the weekend? Now, that's a group of individuals that I would never want to get on the wrong side of, but you think about different ways to protest, raise awareness. They're opening themselves up to a major battle with the MPAA and RIAA by doing this denial of service attacks against their websites. Now, they were successful in bringing those sites down for a while, not for a long time. But the MPAA fought back, and apparently they had their the IRC channel that they were hanging out in closed and shut down and banned, because they did say that they had to switch IRC servers due to the legal notices from the RIAA. So no one's commented on this, but it is an interesting way to do a protest, and I'm sure they're going to be going after folks in whichever way they can. Hey, over at betanews.com, there's a report here, and I'll have to ask Rob about this, Rob Greenlee, who's over at Zune. Microsoft is expanding Zune's international presence before the Windows Phone 7 launch. And we had a kind of funny because on Saturday we kept calling it everything but Windows Phone 7. But they announced that it will be launching multi-screen Zune services in new international markets this fall. So here's how it's going to work. For those of you that live in the UK, France, Italy, Spain, and Germany, you're going to be able to buy music from the Zune marketplace. For those of you that live in UK, France, Germany, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, you're going to be able to download full-length movies and watch them on Xbox Live and on the phones. Now, if you live in UK, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Ireland, Netherlands, Switzerland, Mexico, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, you're going to be able to rent movies from Zune Marketplace and sync them across your devices. So this is big for those of you that listen to the show outside of the United States. I know that we've got a big UK audience presence, and I know we've got a significant presence in Italy and Spain as well. So this is good. Now, for those of you that live in those markets, what's been accessible to you up to this point on those in those services? You know what they've had. You know, if you've been able to even use the Zune Marketplace at all. Has anything whatsoever been available besides maybe podcasts, which, you know, they've done a great job highlighting. And I give all that credit to Rob at Zune for doing that. Sorry for yawning, Nat. It's been a long day, but so we'll see how this goes. But anyway, you've got some new services coming to you in the fall. Hey, there's a new. Many of you know about VLC. The VLC media player has been pretty popular. And they've just recently launched, and believe it or not, this is just shocking that that Apple would allow them to do this. But Apple has opened up and allowed these folks from VLC to put an iPad app up that really what it does is it allows you to play a variety of different types of video formats. You know, up to this point, you've been able to play .movs, .mp4s, .mpvs, .m4vs on the iPad, but that's about it. This new app will allow you to play .avis and a variety of other formats. Some MKV formats will work, older ones specifically, but not newer encoded ones. So this is big news. This is really big that you're able to play a variety of different video now on the iPad that you were never able to before. They're not the first to do this, but they're pretty much, you know, these folks are really well known, and because they basically have that real popular open source media player. So if you've got an iPad, you'll definitely want to check that out, download it. Matter of fact, as I was getting my car serviced this morning, I was going through and looking at the popular apps. It was #1 on the free side. I believe it's a free download. It was the #1 app on the the most popular as of this morning. But definitely check it out. Just search VLC in the iPad store, and I'm sure you'll find it. How many of you have used Scribd? And I've used Scribd a few times to put documents up to make them available to put on my on website. But TechDirt is reporting, and this is a dirty little trick apparently that Scribd is playing. Again, Scribd is available at, if you go over to scribd.com. And you remember, what Scribd does is it allows you to upload PDFs and Word documents, and it gets it into a format that you can embed on a web page. Apparently, Scribd has taken older content, and that's not being defined how much older, and it's put those documents behind a paywall. Now, if you have documents listed on your blogs that are, counting on Scribd to serve those up, they may not be serving them up anymore. One of the users has said, he got a quote with me here, said, "I also feel like Scribd used me. With their implicit promise of open access, they got me to share a lot of high-interest documents and generate lots of link love. Then they flipped the default from free to paywall as part of a cash grab. I could check out of Scribe, but then I would break a lot of links, and it would take a lot of time. So now I feel trapped. It's a terrible feeling. So here again, here's another instance where, a service went from free to pay, and that content is locked up in behind their paywall. And unless you pay their bounty to get it out, you're going to have to move it to a different service. Now, luckily, everything I do, and then everything that I've used on Scribe, and actually I was searching through my documents today to see how many I had, is linked right in Geek News Central. I don't link anything back to Scribe directly. And so I'm, from that standpoint, I'm pretty safe. Basically, I just have to move the documents. But if you've got documents out there on Scribe, be aware of what they've done here, okay? And this article is over at techdirt.com. All right, those of you that live in the UK and are using O2, oh my goodness. You talk about O2 took some lessons from AT&T because they have definitely done a bait and switch. So if you bought an iPad and you signed up with O2 and you got their 3 gig plan or their 500 meg plan, you may not have known this, but apparently that 3 gig data plan and that 500 meg plan was only a promotional plan. So now O2 is telling their customers that that they're now going to be downsized and paying the same amount of money and getting 2 gigs and 200 megs, despite what people thought they originally signed up for. So you can just kind of feel great about that, don't you? You just kind of feel great about O2 making the old bait and switch on you, just like they did to like AT. Well, at least AT&T grandfathered old customers, but they probably figured out that we're actually using these devices, right? And I saw my wife's $25 a month plan renew this afternoon. So you get a nice little email from AT&T. Oh, we have renewed your data plan for a month. So that makes you go, that jab in the eye that costs you. Hey, if you want to stay up to date on what's going on with Verizon's 4G, they put up a new website today that you can basically submit your email. Of course, they ask for a bunch of information, your telephone number, your zip code, and some other information to get you to sign up for the email alerts on what's going on with Verizon's 4G LTE service. So if you want to stay up on top of that, I'll have a link up for you in the show notes. All right, we're about mid-show on tech stuff, and I want to remind you guys we've been working with Infusionsoft. And Infusionsoft has been, boy, oh boy, they're putting a plan together for us. We're starting to implement some of it. Some of you have started to see some of the emails come back through on some things we've done. But Infusionsoft really has helped small businesses. And you guys know that small businesses struggle and they have a lot of challenges. So they've got a lot of cool tools. They do targeted email marketing, fully integrated CRM. They do multimedia marketing. They also work on the storefront and shopping cart stuff. So all you got to do is go over to Infusionsoft.com/pod1. So Infusionsoft.com/pod1. And if you want to look for a better way to grow your business, fill out the application or the little information form that they have there. Watch the demo video and see if Infusionsoft is a product that you can use for your service. I want to thank Infusionsoft for being a sponsor here at Geek News Central. Hey, those of you up in Canada, here it comes. Netflix is available on Wednesday to watch streaming video. So if you sign up for Netflix, you're going to be able to stream your content up there. So Netflix is entering the Canada market. Its first foreign expansion has local video distribution players basically available to go, ready to go. So this is big. Now I don't know if it's going to be just web-based. Let me see how are they going to actually launch it. Do they say what device this is going to be on? Are you going to put this on a Roku and be able to use it on a Roku? It says Netflix offering will only be for online streaming with no physical DVD rentals planned, at least for now. So it doesn't say anything about any devices at this point. So we'll see if we can get some word for you. I'll reach out to my folks at Roku and say, hey, Netflix is going to be available for streaming in Canada. Are you going to make this box is going to be available to be utilized up there? And if it is, you guys up in Canada are going to start to enjoy the benefits of what we've been loving with the being able to stream video on Netflix. Now, as a forewarning for those of you that have not seen the differences between, well, really you won't know because all you're going to have access to is a streaming content. There are DVDs that there's movies that you can put in your queue that are not available via the stream. In other words, they have a library of stuff that can be streamed, and then they have the library of stuff that you have to get the DVD on. So please be aware of that. We're getting some DVDs in. My kids are actually taking care of the queue, and besides getting a lot of kids' DVDs, but the ability is there is going to be some deltas there. So you might want to watch a first run movie that's just not available because it requires a DVD. So there is going to be some challenges there from your perspective because I may say, well, we watch X movie, and you're going to say, Todd, I couldn't get that on the stream. It's because it's simply not available. So be aware of that. But it's still, there's thousands of movies available on the streaming side. And should be well worth it for those of you up there in Canada. Okay, ABC is introducing a new app, and this should make you think a little bit. Now, I've never watched this show called My Generation, but they have an app specifically for My Generation, and this is crazy stuff here. And this is the first app of its kind that I know does this. Besides, I think some of the stuff that Apple does. But the ABC app, and I found this over at Engadget, is going to eavesdrop on your TV to synchronize interactive content using basically things that is in the actual audio of the show. So if you're watching the My Generation show and you've authorized this app to listen, then what it will do is, and they've got a video of it, as stuff happens in the show, you'll get queried for questions, poll questions, offers. Very interesting what they have done here. I don't watch My Generation. I don't particularly like the idea of having my iPad being turned on and actually listening to the television and every other conversation that's going on in the house. But apparently, Nielsen is working with ABC on this to make it interactive. But what do you guys feel? What do you guys feel about, you're obviously not going to have to turn on the app to listen, but it really defeats the purpose of having it. I guess I'm going to ask the audience, what do you guys think about ABC? Well, they're not really spying. They're being interactive with you. What do you think about this? You think this is the future and where we're going to go with apps, and more apps are going to be doing this? I'm finding it pretty amazing that it's, can do this and can interact in a way that, it actually works. They must be sending out, I really would like to know the underlying technology on that. If they're sending some sort of tone, if there's something that you can't physically hear, but the speaker can pick, or the microphone can pick up. It is kind of curious. It really, really is. But, makes you go, doesn't it? But anyway, it's called the My Generation iPad app, and I'd love to hear guys' feedback on that. If you guys get feedback on the show, 619-342-7365. 24 hours a day is the hotline's open, 619-342-7365. Or if you have comments on the show, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Hey, you want to talk about VidaBox? Alan, one of our writers at Geek News Central, has written up a good article about VidaBox. Now, this is for you that has some extra cash to lay around. These are not cheap devices, but this is really the high end of media. VidaBox, pronounced VidaBox, is a high-end computer entertainment manufacturer, and this is a whole house solution for those of you who want the best. It's a home theater, PC, media server, and controller, all the top of the line, and it's got an integrated remote control. You can store up to 44 terabytes. Yes, 44 terabytes of media on there. They also have some iPad apps that go along with it. So, pretty cool if you can afford it. I don't know what the actual cost on it is. But anything that can hold 44 terabytes of media, I can guarantee it is out of my price range. Hey, the folks over at Blue Mic sent over today a press release to me. Let me know about the new Mic E, Mikey, for flip cameras. You guys know I've got several of these. And Blue is going to be introducing this at CES 2011. And this is pretty cool. One thing that in 2009, we shot all of our back channel video for CES with a flip camera and our flip recorder. I think they prefer to be called the flip recorder. But this Mickey for the flip is for the new generation of flip recorders that it'll plug into the bottom of it. So if you've got a current flip camera, it will not a recorder. It will not work with your current version. But I'm pretty excited about this because it will really improve the audio quality. Matter of fact, a buddy of mine that listens to the show that I went to lunch with last week was asking me about the flip recorders, and I basically told him that they're great for something's going on in the house. Impromptu stuff when you're out and about. My wife carries one on the phone. I have one of mine in the glove box in case as I like to say, if I see a UFO, I can reach in there and grab that thing and turn it on and capture it. Actually, it's in my computer bag, so it's actually not in my glove box. But the audio quality has always been kind of a challenge because if the wind's out blowing, you're going to hear the wind blowing outside. So hopefully this new Blue Mic with the Mikey for flip is going to really up the audio quality, and that's really what the flip has been missing. It does great video, does full HD. I think the one I have does 720p. This new microphone is going to retail for $69, and again, it'll be available at CES 2011. We'll be sure to have Tyler and the gang over to see us and introduce this to us. I hope we'll get a hand on a few of these and be able to give them away as well. But anyway, that's forthcoming, and I just got to go check out and see what Flip's doing too with their new cameras, because obviously this will not work on any of the ones that I have. I get a little upset today when I was over at this website, and I just want to point this out because when someone writes up a comparison article, and especially if it's a Making Windows Easy website, and they start comparing Apple TV, Boxy, Roku, and you guys can't see it because it's off the side of the screen here, because I've had to scroll. Basically 1024 by 768 is what I put up on the video, but they got the pop box in here, and here's what they say about the pop box. It has all these features and lots of apps. I just updated my pop box. It does not have lots of apps. It has like 5 or 6 or 7. The Roku has a lot of apps. 85. I did the count. 85 apps on the Roku right now, or channels like I like to call them. Sure, it doesn't tie into your local music or pictures or video, but this is about, the Roku is designed to consume media on the internet and what's available in the channels. Now, the Boxy, on the other hand, is going to tie back. It's going to have Pandora. It's going to have music, pictures, video. You're going to be able to watch Netflix. But the price difference between the Boxy is $199, and the Roku's from $59 to $99. The Pop Box is $120. I don't recommend that you buy the Pop Box. Let me just say that very clearly. And then what Apple TV is going to offer is Netflix, your music, pictures, video, iTunes, but no apps, no other alternate apps. Now, let's talk about Windows Media Center. Price varies. It's going to be expensive. If you want to watch Netflix, you can. If you want to do Amazon videos, requires a hack. Does music, pictures, video. It's HD capable, and it says infinitely hackable. Whenever I see a Windows guy doing a comparison, I get real suspicious because I know a few of you have Windows Media Centers. And maybe you guys would go over here and say, just tell me, is this guy's review fair? Or did he skew this to Windows Media Center's behalf? Quite frankly, I don't think many of us have the big box that's required to do Windows Media Center on our consoles. I think we're willing to have those small Apple TV Pocky Hook or the small Boxy box or even the small Roku box. The Pop box has probably got the biggest footprint of between the Apple TV Boxy and Roku. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Soon, I've got my Boxy box pre-ordered, and we'll see how that experience is compared to the Roku once I get my hands on it. But I don't know. I guess because now that I've got the Xbox 360, I'll be able to tell on how Windows Media Center stacks up, and we'll do my own write-up on this. But I'm sure that's how most of you are using the Windows Media Centers through the Xbox 360. I can't imagine having a separate device. Now, there is some rumor from the folks over at the Apple blog at appleblog.com that because of a deal that Apple just did with the folks, matter of fact, we just talked to these guys 2 weeks ago, the folks at Rovi Corp. Now, this is a big company. I think they've got a couple thousand employees. They write most of the descriptions on the guides that you see when you're going through like DirecTV and you want to see what the program's about, the description. They do most of those descriptions plus some other stuff. But they've just signed a multi-year licensing deal with Apple, apparently and potentially to develop interactive television guides for the Apple TV. Now, the folks at the Apple blog think that this is a couple years away, but I would imagine if Apple is signing a deal with Rovi that we would see something coming sooner than later. Now, there's again speculation that Apple's going to come out with their own TV, and that if that happens, wow, we'll see. Of course, it'll be expensive, but the folks at appleblog.com think that the Apple TV product is a few years away. Now, what do you guys think with this deal with Rovi? You know, where do you think this fits in the timeline? Are they going to be able to incorporate this into the new hockey puck? Are we going to get live streaming TV via the Apple TV? Makes you think, doesn't it? Really does. So who knows what Apple's got up their sleeve? But this is definitely a telltale sign of where they're headed. Hey, remember I told you that I would be surprised if Ivy made it a week? I'm going to try. I got a press release from their PR firm today. They've had at least, of course, let me remind you about Ivy. Ivy was a service that allowed you to download their app, and you could watch television shows that were being broadcast by ABC, CBS, and they were rebroadcasting those. Well, they've had a huge number of cease and desist, and basically what Ivy did today is they filed a lawsuit against everyone, basically saying that because of a compulsory licensing that was done in 1976, that there are provisions available for cable TV providers and internet, what they're assuming to be internet TV providers, to retransmit broadcast channels without separately negotiating each and every license. But there is a 1992 Cable Act that states that cable companies still have to go ahead and get the permission of the broadcaster, some sort of a deal with them. They didn't mention that in the lawsuit, but the PR person offered up the company president to talk to him about this. So I'm going to do my best to get him on for a short interview that I can record and then cover it on the Morning Tech Show on Saturday. But again, I don't think Ivy's gonna. They've got a big uphill battle to win. It's gonna be tough. It really, really is. But if they win this, it's really gonna open the floodgates for a lot of different services. And of course, went out. The NFL went after them because of the rebroadcast from a local station that was broadcasting over the air. So it's going to be ugly before it gets better. I don't know how many of you listen to Sirius, and you of course know that Howard Stern's going through his major contract renegotiations. Opie and Anthony are going through major contract negotiations with Sirius and XM, and it doesn't look too positive that they're going to be kept on the air. So for those of you that actually do have Sirius accounts, and I don't think I've ever listened to Opie and Anthony, and if they're kind of semi-related to Stern, I'm sure they have pretty hardcore content. But if Stern and Opie and Anthony are dropped from Sirius, I'm just kind of curious, from those of you that have Sirius/XM accounts in your vehicles, would you drop the Sirius and XM service because of that? I'm just trying to get into a little straw poll here. I know that from our surveys in the past that I don't think we have a large number of you that are actually subscribed to Sirius and XM, but I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on that, and if any of you've got some insider knowledge, I'd love to hear, because I'm just kind of see what's going to happen. If Opie and Anthony don't renew their Sirius XM deal, they're essentially going to be forced to go internet-based, because they've been kicked off terrestrial, and I don't think they'll be able to go back on FM or AM or wherever they were before, so I don't think they will have any choice but to go online. Now, I think Stern will probably do the same thing, but the cost of that operation will be huge, and I don't know if advertising will pay for it. It probably will, but it costs a lot of money. As big of an audience as they have, they would have to really have some serious advertisers to support the infrastructure on this. But or they go to a pay model, and maybe people will pay for it. I guess, would you pay for Stern or Opie and Anthony if they were completely online? Plus have the advertising built in there. Would you guys actually do that? There's a new bill that's been introduced in Congress, and this is an article I found over on torrentfreak.com that talks about this legislation would allow the Department of Justice to take over domain names of websites that promote copyright infringement. The proposed bill would allow for court orders against domestic as well as foreign sites. Check this out. Foreign sites, which could potentially shutter many torrent sites, including the Pirate Bay. Now, if that domain name is being held by an offshore domain register, I don't know how the Department of Justice would be able to take over that domain name. But let me look here, see if we can find in this article who the actual senator was. Oh, this is Senator Orrin Hatch is one of the authors of this. And I don't know if he's a Republican or if he's a Democrat. It doesn't matter. But just to think that they are going to really allow the U.S. government to come in and shut down a website over copyright infringement is pretty big. Now, this has kind of been done before. And ICANN CEO Rod Beckstrom already warned against the legislation that was proposed by U.S. senators today. He says if governance were to become the exclusive province of nation states or captured by any other interest, we would lose the foundation of the Internet's long-term potential and transformative value. I agree. Of course, the MPAA has already applauded the introduction of the bill and offered their full cooperation. In the coming weeks, we look forward to working with the chairman and the Senate House committees to help strengthen the bill. And this came from the MPAA. So, I don't know where you fall on this, but I think you ought to get on. We'll get the bill number for you. We'll get all the senators involved, and we'll get this information to you in the next show, so that you can voice your opinion to your respective legislature. It's pretty shocking that they're doing this in an election year, considering all the trouble that everyone's already in, both on the Republican and the Democrat sides. That this is the year that a lot of people on both sides of the party are going to be losing their job, and rightly so. But I guess we'll see. We'll see where this goes. But Senator Orrin Hatch is at the head of this, and so if he's your senator, I would definitely get on the phone to his staff and voice your opinion one way or the other, for or against. I have this link up in the show notes where you can get more information, okay? All right, I got a bunch of stuff here. I don't know if I'm going to get through. AT&T responds to Virgin Mobile with a no-contract plan, and you're going to laugh at this. Virgin Mobile's unlimited no contract data plan have really rattled AT&T in that really what Virgin offered was 5 gigs used within 30 days for $60. Well, good old folks at AT&T have came back and offered up $15 for 100 meg used within a day, $30 for 300 meg used within a week, and $50 for 1 gig used within a month. Boy, they don't really get this. You can go out and buy a $100 MiFi on no contract and use the Virgin Mobile Unlimited plan on Sprint. It's through Sprint to really just, on demand. You can, like for CES, I'm going to buy 3 or 4 of these MiFis, and we're going to put, subscribe to them and have them run for a month, and we'll shut them down because, we'll just have some extra bandwidth available. But AT&T, they obviously are still playing old school wise. All right, got a bunch of stuff here that I'm going to skip over. Adobe Air for Android is going to go live on October 8th. This is big. This should create a big influx of new apps into the Android platform. These are essentially Adobe Flash type of apps that will run on the Android now because of the Air introduction. So that's big. It's going to save developers a lot of time as well. Got a couple articles here. Sign of the Times, Newsweek sign being torn down. And someone actually recorded a video of the Newsweek sign being ripped down. So it shows you that things are changing very quickly. Got a few other articles. There'll be bonuses for you in the show notes. But I really need to get into the email and the one voicemail comment before we run out of time here tonight. Let me go ahead and play the first voicemail. Actually, the only voicemail. And it's a 3-minute... It's a 3-minute one. I have not previewed this. So let me go ahead and run this, and then we'll get into the email. Again, if you've got comments on the show, 619-342-7365. You can call that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Leave your comments on the show, your thoughts, processes, what we need to do, what you hate, what you love. Cuss me out, whatever you want to do. Well, don't cuss me out because we play these for everyone on the show. This remains a family-safe show. But here we go on the first hotline call.
Hello, Todd. I think it was by the show, that you mentioned something about how, about some kids coming up to you by the pool, when you're at the pool with your iPad and stuff, and you were saying how Microsoft has to catch up.
Yep.
Because those kids are going to buy Apple stuff instead of Microsoft stuff, or they don't catch up and they're going to sink or whatever. That kind of thing is coming up also in the blind community, too, in the sense of accessibility. People are wondering now, and especially one has to wonder, especially once more blind people find out that, look at all this Apple stuff. Next time you use your Mac, try and hit Command of 5, and you'll see the screen reader code voiceover comes up.
Really?
In fact, I don't know if you noticed when you bought it, or if there's that new that it asked you stuff about, it says stuff here about voiceover and stuff. So it has a screen reader built in. So you see, the thing is, the blind person can use a Mac without having to buy anything and pay several hundreds or even thousands of dollars for another screen reader, and it's on board, and it's now about as good as any other screen readers that come on Windows or that one has to buy for a PC. And then they have stuff, the same screen reader on their iPods, and then the iPhones, and then the one that's still kind of being wondered about is the Apple TV. But anyway, the point being that accessibility is another one, and with the economy being what it is and money being tight, and especially if as more blind people do find out, at least maybe not as much as in like jobs or just for home use and stuff, start buying more Macs. I mean, unless the blind community is too small, but my mom doesn't think it's really that small, or it wouldn't really get Microsoft if more blind people, from the PC to the Mac. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know about that. I mean, one would have to wonder if about Microsoft switching up and stuff to Apple. That it's more than just, the quality of the products and the things they can do and stuff, but also accessibility. I mean, on a Mac, a blind person can install the operating system by themselves, whereas on a PC you have to wait for somebody to come to help you with it. Now, I know there's a whole thing about the drivers, but, yeah, that can be dealt with, I think. So that's it for now. Talk to you later. Goodbye, Todd.
Hey, thanks for the call. And, I think both Windows and Apple have to have accessibility applications. In other words, they have to be usable by the not only the for sight impaired, but hearing impaired. I know that we have a number of folks that sight impaired that listen to the show, and so maybe they can tune in on which either Windows or Mac, which one's more accessible for them. I know that for a very long time that there was a bunch of screen readers that were primarily run on Windows machines. So maybe we can get an update from one of our vision impaired folks on really what's going on these devices, how well the iPad, how well the iPhone, where Zune falls in, where or the Windows Phone 7, where the Android falls in from an accessibility point of view. But yeah, that experience with the kids at the swimming practice definitely opened my eyeballs quite a little bit. And for those of you that aren't familiar, I talked about this in the last show, and you guys can go back and review the prior show on what I had to say there. Hey, I don't know if I covered this the last show, if this came in before the last show or not, but I got an email from Jim. And he says, "Hey, Todd, credit cards of the future." And he links me up to an article over on Mashable. I'll have this up in the show notes. I got an email from Steve, and he said, "Hey, Todd, I use Twitter. I canceled my..." Oh, I already talked about this in the last show, so probably did. Got an email here from Alan. He said, "Hey, Todd, thought you would find this amusing. It's a classic Steve Jobs, and it's about a email battle that went between a college journalism student and Jobs, and this made the news last week. Pretty interesting." Got an email here from Trucker Tom that says, "Global Internet Treaty proposed," and Tom provides me a link to that, and it's over at thetelegraph.co.uk. I'll have that link up in the show notes. Got an email from Nick. He says, "Nick, what's the story with this?" It says your email address is Nick the Wonder Puppy. What is the story with that? He said, "Hi Todd, this is your friend Nick the Wonder Puppy. Not a good idea to endorse any politicians. The reason being they could turn out to be a bad dog. I mean a bad politician, and that will come back to bite you like a bad dog. I hope you read this as it took a long time to type. I've only got pause." Okay, funny Nick. I got an email here from Jack. He says, "Hey, Todd, I use Twitter for a lot of my daily information, and I use lists to control the fire hose of information. I have a news list, which includes like Wall Street Journal, Breaking News, Daily Finance, a Big OVT, etc. So I have a tech list, which includes Geek News, Alley Insider, at Jason, etc. I also have a friends and family list and lock it so only I can access this list, which keeps other people from seeing my family members' Twitter handles. So unless you lock your list, anybody can see who is on your list. Likewise, you can see who is on anybody else's public list. One of the interesting things about lists is you can put anybody on a list, even those you don't follow. This is another way to control the fire hose of information that comes from the Twitter feed. Another option you might consider is another Twitter account, which I do have, and restrict followers to just family and close friends. This way, when your Twitter personal update information, it would only go that you're allowed on that feed. You also could create an account for GNC Insiders, but setting it up, inviting just insiders, and authorizing maybe more time than you can afford. Just a thought. A side note, the Twitter iPad app is the best Twitter client out there. I agree, Jack. I really do with you on that as well. And it's free. It's a must-have if you Twitter much. Hope this information been happy. Of course, this is Jack, our cameraman, one of our cameramen from CES 2010. Will be out there in the thick of it with us at CES 2011. Got an email here from Jason. He says, and this is over the Ohio State's sports licensing issue. He says, "Todd, it's getting even more obvious that state colleges and universities are not all about education, but are like any other for-profit business. These universities are funded partially by state taxpayers and should not have the right to block third party for publishing or writing anything about their teams. If they want to go private or not take tax taxpayer dollars, then it would be reasonable that they could enforce publishing rights. Although standard for state-funded universities and double dipping has already been set in the grants and patent issues, state universities and colleges are given grants from governments to perform research in different areas and are allowed to patent discoveries and then license them to others. This seems unreasonable as the grants come from tax revenue and is given to them for research. The discoveries are then patented and the revenue from the patent licensing goes to the university instead of back to the taxpayers. I suppose this is similar to what is happening with the sports teams as well. My 2 cents, Jason. Jason, remember that private for-profit schools, and as a matter of fact, there's a great video out by Frontline that was done in May of this year that talks about private for-profit schools, that every parent should go dig around in the internet and find this. If you have a Netflix account, you can find it. It's called College something, College 101 or something like that. It's a 1 hour. It'll open your eyes wide open. Any of you that are thinking about going to a for-profit school should watch this Frontline article. You really have to be careful. Now, there's a lot of great for-profit schools. They have great curriculum in certain areas, but some of them, you just got to do your research out there. Be careful. But you know that for-profit schools get about 80% of the national or the United States student aid money. In other words, the students that go to for-profit schools use about 80% of the student aid, and at a much higher, what's being said anyway, is a much higher default rate because the education they're getting is not always what they think they're getting, and they're not as sellable as a student. So I'm not saying that all public or all privately, not private, all for-profit schools are bad. There's just a few out there that are very dangerous. They're taking advantage of people. Just make sure you do your homework and you know what you're paying for, and compare it to local universities or community colleges. Just because a school says they're accredited and they're a for-profit school does not mean that you're going to get a bachelor's degree or a certificate that's going to sell in the outside world. So just all I say is you got to go watch this Frontline article. Every parent that has a kid, or if you're thinking about going back to school, please, please, please watch that Frontline article by the public broadcasting system. So that's available out there. So anyway, but this doesn't kind of ties back to this sports licensing. I don't think any state college should be able to do what Ohio State has done, but court has so ordered. Rob, thanks for your link that you sent me. Basically talking about pigeon wings doing a broadband speed test. We had this up in a previous show, but I want to thank you for that link. All right, folks, that's going to wrap me up for today, and I'll be back with you live on Thursday night, or we'll have the show released available for you to listen to or subscribe to Friday morning. Of course, this show will be available first thing Tuesday morning in most of your areas. I hope that you pick the show up when it's released, so that way you get the news immediately, so that it doesn't go too stale. So I hope you build me into your life every Tuesday and Friday. And those of you that are willing to stay up late enough to watch the live show, please do. Those of you on Roku and Boxy, please send me your comments on what you think about the show. We made a couple of tweaks to the show on the Roku, and have you noticed? The video should be a little bit better at the price of a much bigger video file. So that's it, folks. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com for your comments, or the hotline is available 24/7 at 619-342-7365. We will see you on Thursday night or Friday morning release. Everyone take care, and aloha.